Rule number 29. Make plans until the end. Rule number 30. Make it look easy when you do something. Rule number 31. Be in charge of the options and make sure others play with the cards you hand them. You show people how bad things will get without you and give them a choice. I stay away and you deal with the consequences, or I come back on my terms. Make the person give in. You can get them to choose what you want them to do by making it look like you want them to do something else. Change the rule number S of the game. Less and less to choose from. A variation on this method is to raise the price every time the buyer hesitates and another day goes by. This is a great way to negotiate with people who can't make up their minds. They'll believe that they are getting a better deal today than if they wait until tomorrow. The weak person on the edge. This is like color the choices, but you have to be more aggressive with the weak. Work on their feelings and use fear and terror to get them to act. If you try to reason with them, they will always find a way to put things off. Brothers in crime. You get your victims to join you in a crime, which ties you together through blood and guilt. The two sides of a problem. The lawyer asks the witnesses to choose between two possible explanations for what happened, and both of them show that their story isn't true. They have to answer the lawyer's questions, but no matter what they say, they hurt themselves. The most important part of this move is to act quickly. Don't give the person time to think of a way to get away. As they try to find a middle ground, they are digging their own graves. Rule number 32. Give people what they want to see. People don't usually think that their own mistakes and stupidity are the cause of their problems. Someone or something else, like the other, the world, or the gods, is to blame, so salvation must also come from the outside. Rule number 33. Find out what each person's thumbscrew is. Everyone has a flaw, a hole in their defenses. Most of the time, that weakness is a fear, an emotion or a need that you can't control. It can also be a small pleasure you like to keep to yourself. In either case, once you find it, you can use it to your advantage. Where the thumbscrews are, watch what people do and what they don't say. A trait that is easy to see often shows its opposite. Find the weak link and fill their emotional void. Feed on their feelings that they can't control. Always try to find obsessions and passions that you can't control. You can take care of what other people can't handle. Rule number 34. Be a king or queen in your own way. Be like a king if you want to be treated like one. Rule number 35. Learn how to time things well. Rule number 36. Ignoring things you can't have is the best way to get back at them. Don't forget that you decide to let things bother you. You can just as easily choose not to notice the annoying person and think the problem is unimportant and not worth your time. This is a strong move. Desire often has contradictory results. The harder you try to get something, the more it gets away from you. The more you try to get what you want, the less likely you are to get it. This is because you are too interested. It makes people uncomfortable and even scared. When you can't stop wanting something, you look weak, unworthy, and sad. Rule number 37. Make captivating shows. Rule number 38. Think what you want, but act like everyone else. If Machiavelli had a prince as a student, he would have told him to write a book against Machiavellism as the first thing to do. Rule number 39. Move water around to catch fish. Anger and other strong emotions are bad for strategy. You must always keep your cool and see things clearly. But you have a clear advantage if you can make your enemies angry while keeping your own cool. Rule number 40. Don't like free food. The value of money is not in having it, but in what you do with it. Law 41. Don't try to fill the shoes of a great man. Rule number 42. If you hit the shepherd, the sheep will run away. Most of the time, trouble in a group can be traced back to one person. The unhappy, always dissatisfied person who always stirs up trouble and spreads his or her bad mood to the rest of the group. Before you know what's going on, people start to feel unhappy. Act before it gets too complicated to sort out. Once you know who is stirring things up, telling other people about it will help a lot. Rule number 43. Work on people's hearts and minds. Remember that the key to getting people to agree with you is to gently break them down and soften them up. Use a two-pronged plan to get them to like you. Play on their emotions and their intellectual weaknesses. Rule number 44. Use the mirror effect to confuse and anger people. When you do the same things as your enemies, they can't figure out what your plan is. The mirror effect makes fun of and shames them, which makes them act too strongly. By holding up a mirror to their minds, you give them the impression that you share their values. By holding up a mirror to their actions, you teach them a lesson. Rule number 45. Tell people they need to change, but don't make too many changes at once. If you have to make a change, make it feel like a small step up from what came before. Even though people understand the need for change and know that institutions and people need to be refreshed from time to time, they are still annoyed and upset by changes that affect them. Rule number 46. Don't look too good. Envy creates silent enemies. It is smart to show flaws and admit to harmless vices now and then to keep people from being jealous and to seem more human and approachable. Do not help or do favors for people who are jealous of you. They will think you are putting them down. Rule number 47. Don't go beyond the goal you set. Know when to stop when you win. Rule number 48. Assume formlessness. When you show a shape or a plan, you leave yourself open to attack. Instead of giving your enemy a shape to recognize, be flexible and always on the move. Accept that nothing is certain and that no law is always the same. The best way to protect yourself is to be as fluid and shapeless as water. The themes and topics throughout are a summary of this book and do not reflect the opinions or thoughts of the producer. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.